Swedish Foreign Minister Maria Malmer Stenergard stated that the country does not rule out sending troops to Ukraine as part of a post-war peacekeeping mission. She said this in a comment to Swedish media, according to European Pravda. Stenergard responded to the UK statement about the possible deployment of peacekeepers to Ukraine. The Swedish foreign minister stated that they must first agree on a just and lasting peace that respects international law, respects Ukraine, and, above all, ensures that Russia cannot simply retreat, rebuild its forces, and attack Ukraine or another country again in just a few years. According to her, once such a peace is achieved, Sweden must ensure its support, and at that point, our government doesn't exclude anything. The British government is ready to deploy peacekeepers to Ukraine to ensure the implementation of any peace agreement. The Telegraph reported on this with reference to the words of the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Sir Keir Starmer. During the interview, he said that it was very difficult for him to make that decision, as sending British troops into harm's way cannot be a light decision. In addition, this was the first statement by the Prime Minister when he explicitly stated that he was considering the deployment of the British peacekeepers to Ukraine. According to the Prime Minister, his direct statement about his readiness to send British peacekeepers to Ukraine should put some pressure on NATO allies, especially Germany, to publicly support the idea of creating a European peacekeeping force in Ukraine. The Prime Minister also suggested that the UK could play a unique role as a bridge between Europe and the US in the peace process for Ukraine. During the interview, Sir Keir Starmer emphasised that the UK would continue to support Ukraine and seek a fair peace for the country, along with comprehensive support. The UK is ready to play a leading role in accelerating work on security guarantees for Ukraine. This includes continued support for the Ukrainian armed forces. The UK has already committed $3 billion a year until at least 2030, the Prime Minister said. It remains unclear what the European-led peacekeeping force in Ukraine would look like. According to the Telegraph, these forces are likely to be deployed away from the front line, which should be one of the points in the future peace agreement. It is worth noting that there is more and more talk among European leaders about sending peacekeepers to Ukraine as the country's politics is becoming more unpredictable with the arrival of the US president. In addition, the publication notes that Trump will never support sending American peacekeepers to Ukraine to maintain peace. As previously reported, Italy is ready to send peacekeeping troops to Ukraine as part of the resolution of the conflict. A new development in Ukraine's drone warfare capabilities has emerged, Forbes reports, as its tech correspondent David Hambling analysed footage shared by Ukrainian electronic warfare expert Serhiy Flash Bezkresnov. The video reveals a modified version of the combat-proven Shrike drone that can operate both in air and underwater, potentially signalling a significant advancement in drone ambush tactics. The emergence of this technology suggests a potential new phase in drone warfare where the battlefield extends not just across land and air but also beneath the water's surface. Multicopters make poor submarines, but that may not be relevant. What matters is that the drone is able to land in water and remain hidden for a period of time, writes Hambling, highlighting the tactical rather than technical significance of this development. Meanwhile, Bezkresnov hints at more extensive capabilities not shown in the public footage. The demonstration in the video is not as impressive as the sight of drones taking off from underwater in a lake, he noted. The Ukrainian Shrike drone has already proven its effectiveness in combat. In 2023, Ukraine's Minister of Digital Transformation, Mikhailo Fedorov, announced the procurement of over 1,500 standard Shrike units through the Army of Drones initiative. Their combat record is notable. A single operation in October 2023 reportedly saw 35 Shrikes destroy 8 tanks and 4 personnel carriers in a Russian convoy. While submersible drones aren't new, examples date back to the 1920s, and recent developments by the US Office of Naval Research and Chinese manufacturers, their military application has been limited due to performance constraints. However, the Ukrainian adaptation appears focused on a specific tactical niche, concealed ambush positions in waterways. The new capability could allow these drones to hide in lakes, ponds, canals, or the many water-filled craters along enemy routes, Hambling reports, making it significantly more difficult for Russian forces to detect potential ambush points. This development follows Ukraine's pattern of adapting commercial drone technology for specific battlefield requirements, similar to their successful deployment of fiber-optic controlled drones to counter Russian electronic warfare. Submersible drones are more practical, though not much more. In principle, Multicopters can fly in water as they can in air and without the need for a pressurized capsule for the pilot. With the issues with weight and buoyancy that this brings, the design is much simpler. In theory, at least, a quadcopter can fly to a given location, dive underwater and operate in submarine mode. Of course, water is much denser than air and the swimming speed is slow, so batteries are rapidly exhausted. Ukraine has also recently started deploying FPV attack drones from its uncrewed speedboats. Special edition Shrikes could be dropped off covertly in coastal areas, ready to be activated when Russian vehicles appear on the land or boats come near on the water. Submersible drones may be a niche capability, but if the cost and complexity of making a drone watertight are relatively low, then, like fiber FPVs, they may proliferate rapidly. As with fiber drones, they look difficult to counter unless hunter-killer submersible FPVs can be developed to seek them out.
The Ukrainian air forces have carried out an airstrike on a Russian base in the Kursk region of Russia, Ukrainian military headquarters reported. As a result of the precise strike, the base of one of the units of the 28th Battalion under the 60th Brigade of the Russian Armed Forces, located near the village of Yelizavetovka in Kursk region, was blown up and destroyed. The servicemen in the area were killed. The base was mainly used to send drones and carry out strikes on the territory of the Sumy region of Ukraine. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky arrived at the Munich Security Conference in Germany on Friday amid intense concern and uncertainty over the Trump administration's foreign policy. According to Associated Press, the future of Ukraine will be the top item on the agenda following a phone call between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian leader Vladimir Putin this week. They pledged to work together to end the three-year-old Russia-Ukraine conflict. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance is expected to meet Zelensky on Friday for talks that many hope will shed some light on Trump's ideas for a negotiated settlement to the war.